So if you want to do it, I suppose Twitter's taken the decision to do it ideologically. Ugly. There is, of course, another problem on Twitter. Twitter users who can, it seems, get away with literally anything. Now, these messages are from Black Lives Matter activists. Black Lives Matter activists flout Twitter's rules against incitement to violence on a daily basis by calling for the deaths of policemen and by celebrating the deaths of police officers on its platform. Twitter does nothing. The Black Lives Matter hashtag is on the wall at Twitter, so this might not be a surprise. And in fact, if you believe what you see in the darker corners of the internet, Twitter might literally be in bed with Black Lives Matter, but we'll leave that for another day. Republicans, including Donald Trump, are bombarded with death threats, and Twitter does nothing. Feminist activists are allowed to dox and harass whoever they want, and Twitter does nothing. Conservative women are subject to ritual humiliation every day, and Twitter does nothing. And it is only now, after years of criticism, after years of complaints from the media, that Twitter is now finally doing something about terrorism. The new Sharia-compliant Twitter, whose major shareholder is no longer Dorsey, but is a Saudi sheikh, which allows the most appalling things on its network until the press notices and starts complaining about it, which is deleting accounts advocating for the rights of women in Saudi Arabia. This is Twitter, and this is what we mean by the regressive left. Fortunately, all signs point to disaster for this company. They are suffering. They deserve to suffer. They deserve to suffer for what they've done to you, and they deserve to suffer for lying to their users. Now, the result of uneven enforcement of rules is a lack of trust from users. Where Twitter users once felt free to express their opinions, they now hesitate, wondering if they're going to get banned. This is a chilling effect on free speech, and it's at the edges of free speech that we should be most concerned. When we talk about free speech, we're not fighting for your right to say, I like the Beatles. We're not fighting for your right to say, I don't like Madonna. We're fighting for those people on the edges of culture, whether it's the Arab Spring, whether it is activists from either side of the political spectrum, or whether it is simply artists, creatives, who don't necessarily think like the rest of us. Whether it's Azalea Banks, who uses horrible words about people, but is a pop star and is entitled to express herself. Let her speak and let the court of public opinion judge. Don't ban her because one day she decided to endorse Donald Trump and called someone a word beginning with P. Little boy who's in a boy band. He's the hottest one in the boy band, but I can't remember his name. All right, Twitter took an experience that was fun, just chatting with your mates in a bar, and turned it into a place of fear, where you are talking, worried about what is going to happen next. Twitter has dug its own grave. I brought a coffin with me today to symbolize what is happening to Twitter. As I say, the gods are smiling down on me. Just this morning, we found out Twitter's probably going to get a formal offer very soon. And when that happens, it is the first step to oblivion and death. As anyone who's followed the history of social networks can tell you, an acquisition is a disaster. RBC Capital, by the way, if people who are thinking of acquiring Twitter think it's going to make you any money, think again. RBC Capital Markets completed a survey of advertisers, found damning evidence that advertisers recognize Twitter is no longer an effective place to advertise. For the first time ever, more advertisers plan to decrease their Twitter spend than to increase it. This is a network on the way out. Twitter's become so ideologically driven, opaque in its business practices, and schizophrenic in its rule enforcement, I believe it is a good idea for any European Twitter user. As I mentioned a moment ago, European Twitter users can request their data. Any European Twitter user to ask what information the company holds about them. That's why, and I'm sorry this isn't available in the United States, but you have it's a different setup here. You're kind of a little bit more business friendly in your legislation. But that's why today I'm going to announce something for Europeans. We're starting out with anybody who's outside of the US, in Europe. If you want to access your Twitter data, there is a piece of European legislation called a subject access request. We have set up a website, and the website is iwantmytwitterdata.com. If you go and get a postal order for €6 or €7, and fill out your data on this, it'll spit you out a letter. And with that letter, you can write to Twitter and ask for all of the information that Twitter holds about you. Whether it has ever made any decisions about your account that might be politically motivated, because it has. Whether or not any suspensions or shadow banning has happened on your account, and what the reasons are. They're obliged to turn over all the information they hold about you and all of the communication that they have had about you. The age of social media censorship began relatively recently. In early 2013, it was still a fairly broad new horizon. But some people saw this coming. The late founder of Reddit, Aaron Swartz, used to say, you know, and this is something that I might lose my conservative credentials here, and some people in the room are going to disagree with this. But you can't control what a private company does. But the effect and the power of Twitter is terrifying when you consider its politics and how capriciously it acts. When a company has such enormous purchase on the public sphere, when it has a monopoly on certain kinds of speech, or when it invents entirely new kinds of public spaces, Aaron Swartz, the late founder of Reddit, held that there is a free speech and First Amendment dimension to these arguments. Now, I'd like you to join me, please, ladies and gentlemen of the congregation. I invite you now to a celebration of the life of Twitter. Please stand. This is what I believe to be a fitting tribute to a life marked by ignominy, mendacity, and deception. I'm going to ask my little helper to bring up a little prop I have that I need for this. Do I have a little helper somewhere? Where's Mike? Where are they? Oh, is it here? Okay, fine. Right. R.I.P. Twitter. Try getting a reservation at Dorsia now! You want to see it, don't you? There we go. I'm happy to take any questions. Oh, there we go. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah. Oh, so you want people to queue? Fine. Do you want to come and queue up and use the microphone? Do you have a question? I think it's. Where did you say it was here? Oh, right here in the middle aisles. You can go and join there. Oh, it's very hot. What's that? Say that again? Oh, thank you. No, I lost my glasses. This is my backup pair. That's why I'm squinting horribly. I'm like a blind person. I lost my glasses in the bus. Somewhere in the bus. My bus is a tip. Right, we ready? Let's start on the left. Go ahead. Oh, there you are. Yes, yes. In the. Oh, look, you look like me.
I'm sorry, Milo. I'm a bit blinded by the light of your resplendence. I do have a question, but first, could I get some cheers for this basket of deplorables?
Oh, yes.
I can hardly believe that I'm standing within the presence. Right.
Oh, stop it, stop it. In about 45 minutes.
All right. I have a few questions I wish I could ask, but I'll keep it to just one.
You can have two since you've been so lovely, and I'll try and be brief in the answers.
Okay, thank you very much.
Compliment, compliment, question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You said on April 21st of this year at your talk at American University, as well as at other talks, that you think blacks in this country are still owed something from slavery. Mm-hmm. What do you think should be done for black people in America? What more could be done to show that we care about them, that we as Americans and as white people want all people in this country to prosper?
Yeah. So the way I've phrased this in the past has made some people upset. Not upset, but they've asked me if that's really what I mean. And so let me put it a slightly different way, which is to say that there are some very bad systemic structural problems in black communities in America that haven't been fixed. And a solution is necessary. It's very obvious Black Lives Matter isn't that solution. It's very obvious that the only thing that Black Lives Matter has ever produced is black communities in ruins. I suppose what I meant to say more accurately is that there are problems that still need to be fixed. And they're problems largely created by Democrats. But without being partisan about it, they're very simple. Well, they are largely, created by Democrats, and they're not going to get better until black people start voting Republican. I don't know whether that's ever going to happen, but they're not going to get better. The state of education, of welfare, the quality of black communities will not improve in this country until they start electing Republicans. As long as they don't do that, they don't do it with their mayors and all the rest of it, there's very little that can be done. But the thing that the next president ought to do is start a massive school building program. I want black kids in the worst neighborhoods to be able to get to Harvard. Because unlike most of the progressive left, I don't judge people on their skin color. I'm a meritocrat. So I want the smartest kids in the worst neighborhoods to have just the same chance of getting to somewhere like Cambridge or Harvard that I had. That's not taken terrifically seriously by the left because they insist on seeing everything through the prism of skin color and oppression and all the rest of it. And if you cut through all of that and just work out what the problem is, it's the family. And the black family was destroyed by Bill Clinton. His crime bill did more to destroy and to rip apart the black family in America than any other piece of legislation since slavery, because he basically locked up the effect of it was locking up hundreds of thousands of black dads. And the Democrats are fine with that because they can replace the father with the state and keep black mothers and children dependent on the state. It's in their vested interest to lock the guys up. But it hasn't been very good for blacks, and the other half of it is as I say, is schools. So I would stop locking people up for stupid drug offenses and build them much better schools.